St. Cloud Somali Radio. Here with me today is Zach Dorholt, special representative from St. Cloud, Minnesota. Zach, welcome to St. Cloud Somali Radio.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So we wanted to talk to you about a lot of things today, and one of the things we wanted to talk to you is, can you tell us more about what you do and what state level you represent, and also some of your functions in St. Paul?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a state representative, and I represent Minnesota House District 14B, which is about half of St. Cloud and Minden and Haven townships. And there's 134 state representatives, so I'm one of that 134, and then there's 67 state senators. So overall there's 201 legislators, as we're called. I was first elected here in 2012, so this is my first term.
That is last election.
Correct.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah. And currently I serve on 3 committees in the House. I'm Vice Chair of Higher Ed, and I'm also on Government Operations and Transportation Policy. And there's about 12 or 15 committees in the House. They range everything from environment, finance, commerce, taxes, K-12 policy, K through 12, finance, and a few others in there.
Nice. So as you know, we have different groups that live in central Minnesota now.
Yeah.
We have Latino, Spanish-speaking groups. We have Somalis, we have Oromos, and we wanted to talk to you about that. And are we heading in the right direction in making sure that these groups are also involved in day-to-day politics and what's going on in St. Paul?
Yeah, well, I feel like now we are. You know, there are folks who practice politics that are more inclusive, meaning everybody needs to be involved, and there are some folks who maybe practice politics that are more exclusive, meaning it's only a special subgroup of people who are involved. And I've always believed that the more inclusive our government is, and the more inclusive our policies are, the better everyone's off. Our voices are lifted up.
Cool. And in here, specifically in St. Cloud, I remember the election, the past election was a little bit tough, and so many things were going on. Can you tell us what is your view on groups like the Somalis and Oromo voting, some of them for the first time? What was the experience like with them and talking to them and dealing with them? Sure.
Well, you have some of the folks who that are citizens, and I think people in St. Cloud don't recognize that a lot of these people, if not most of them, are actual citizens, and the ones who are involved are a little more in tune with some things that are going on, sometimes compared to the average person who's lived there their whole life. So I'm always impressed at that, and we have some great leaders here, and I've been impressed by how active a lot of the folks in the Somali community and the Oromo community have found some leaders and continue to keep people involved. And I would always say my door is always open. So if you feel like you don't have maybe a leader within your own community to go to, feel free to come to me as an individual too.
What are some of the steps that you are taking personally in St. Paul to help some of these immigrant groups?
Sure. Well, when I was out door knocking, going out meeting people, trying to get votes, I think the number one concern people had was education, and that means making sure A, we have enough teachers in the classrooms, B, people who maybe English isn't their first language are getting the support they need to make sure they can thrive, and then also that transition into college. Minnesota was put on the map nationally because historically we've always invested in education, and specifically we've invested really well in higher education. So that means the universities or the technical and community colleges, and over the past 10 years we've had a lot of cuts. The economy was bad, we weren't able to invest the way we should. So I've been really trying to lead the charge in investing in catching us up to the rest of the country, making sure that we're a leader in education rather than falling behind.
And I think that is a very, very important point. Education being the cornerstone and foundation of any group that are new to, especially in Minnesota and central Minnesota. I think that's very important. And English being also a very another foundation that they really, really need, especially early childhood education,
Right.
which a lot of investment needs to be made on that. And I've heard parents talk about that. I think that is a very important thing, that education is one of your priorities, and you're working on that. Also, I wanted to ask you about challenges that you're facing in trying to make sure that what you have promised or what you're trying to do are met. What are some of the challenges?
Sure. Well, some of the challenges is a lot of folks want us to do everything this year, and the legislature works in a biennium. So it's every 2 years we have the budget is a 2-year budget. And what I would like to ask folks to kind of recognize is, because the economy isn't growing as fast as we'd like, and because we're making up for really a decade of cuts, it's going to take more than 2 years to catch up to where we need to be. So sometimes it's hard to say no, we can't fund that this year. But the things that we are going to be funding that are a priority, one's going to be all-day kindergarten, and there's going to be great investment in early childhood education, because we know that's where we get our best bang for the buck. Some people hear about cuts to things such as health and human services, and we're trying to balance things the best way we can without hurting those who need the help the most. But it's going to take a little more than 2 years to catch up with the past 10 years we had of cuts.
Cool. And so with the governor being around here in Minnesota, and especially in St. Cloud, you've spoken to him, I'm sure, a couple of times, and you're part of the people that will pass some of his agenda. Does he have, do you think he's working on what he's doing for American new citizens? I'm talking about people that voted for him that are American citizens, but still have not a foothold in Minnesota.
Right.
Can you tell us more about that, or do you have an idea or anything about that?
Yeah, I think Governor Dayton is, same philosophy I am, is that we need to have and provide a more inclusive environment, meaning doors in government need to be open to everybody. Anybody who wants to participate should and does have the right to participate. And I think he's done a good job at that. He's allowed us to establish some committees and commissions, which were kind of frowned upon in the past, that will get us answers that are more in tune with the communities, the new Americans, and other folks who are new to the area. Also, I'm happy and relieved that he really prioritizes education. I think he's going to go down in history as maybe the education governor, and education for everyone, not just a select few.
Also, I don't know if we can talk about this, but Michelle Bachmann has been still making headlines nationally and stuff like that. We tried to call and talk to her as well. We're not getting anywhere. But what do you think Jim Grave will run again in 6th Congressional District here in St. Cloud?
Well, I think so. I hope so. And if he does, he's got my support. And I've worked a little bit. I'm the only Democrat in Michelle Bachmann's entire district, and so that gives me a little bit of leverage. And she talks a lot about say funding for roads and things, but when asked like how to pay for it, what are we going to do for our communities, still feel like it's falling upon deaf ears. So that's been disappointing, and we need someone who actually is going to do the work. And she's been there for 6 years, and she really hasn't done anything for our community other than get headlines in the papers.
Okay. And with Jim Graves, have you spoken to him about running again, or do you think that is a possibility? I mean,
yeah. I told him if he runs again, he's got my support, and he's going to make an announcement here next week sometime, I think. I know he kind of put some things after his father actually passed away this Monday, so things are put on hold. But I think next week we'll hear the official word.
We'll have to speak to Jim Grave again if we get the time, and if you had the time to tell him. And also, we would like to invite anybody from Michelle Bachmann. As you know, this is a radio station. It's open for everybody to come in and express what their views are. just don't want to seem like we are only one, but I mean we are all one together. We're one community, and we would like to hear both sides of the story. Is there anything?
Good staff
Right.
in Rockman's office who communicate with me regularly, and some of her staff folks, newer staff folks, and some other people who actually live in the area are pretty in tune to the place, so they're good folks to talk to.
And here's my thing with me. I mean, you guys on the Democratic sides are making every effort to come and talk to immigrants. I myself being one of them. I'm a citizen as well, and I have a voting rights. I can vote. But the thing is that only one side is making effort to reach out to these immigrants, mostly who are citizens now. The thing with the other side is that they're not making that effort a lot, and that tells a lot, what direction they want to head. And the other thing is, Michelle Bachmann, I think, maybe doesn't know that she's representing a big chunk of electorate.
Yeah.
That she's ignoring that in central Minnesota. I know that's not a topic that why you're here, but politics every time people do talk about politics, and I think that's a very important thing. But let's put that aside. We can talk about that some other time. I want to talk about St. Cloud now, the city of St. Cloud. Things sometimes tend to move very slow.
Yeah.
Could there be a reason for that?
Well, the reason is a lot of it has to do with how the economy really went under over the past 10 years. So we were under a lot of fiscal constraints at the state, at the federal, and at the local level. The city of St. Cloud lost out to what's called LGA, local government aid. Since 2002, the state has pretty much been cutting LGA, local government aid. And the city of St. Cloud is a regional hub, and we are dependent. Our population grows during the day. People come into our city to use the services, but they really don't pay much for those. And the state used to have a formula that would help make up for that. And with the governor's budget and the House budget, we will finally see an increase in local government aid. So that will help, everything from hopefully make it help, hire extra law enforcement, help folks get better training, help plow the roads a little bit, help maybe with some other local efforts.
Another thing, another concern that I'm a graduate from St. Cloud State University, and
Me too.
Yes, we are both alumni, and we have so many other people that are graduate from St. Cloud State University. The other thing I really wanted to talk to you about is the youth here, the Somali youth here in St. Cloud. First of all, I want to shout out to an organization in Minneapolis. They're called Kajok, and young boys, very talented, doing a lot for the Somali community in and around Minneapolis. And they just last week or this week sometime they got a FBI Leadership Award. So I want to say congratulations. Some of them.